In the first 90 seconds after you fall asleep tonight, your brain will do something most people never learn about in their entire lives. And it has already started before you even notice you're drifting off. While your body goes still, your brain shifts gears. Not into off, into a completely different mode of operation. Electrical activity that was firing fast and chaotic suddenly drops into slow rolling waves. Chemicals start flooding in that are almost completely absent during the day. And somewhere in there, your brain begins a process that scientists only fully mapped within the last decade. By the end of this video, you will never think about falling asleep the same way again. But what happens in those first 90 seconds? That is the part almost nobody has actually seen. Your brain weighs about 1.4 kilograms, roughly the same as a small laptop. But while you sleep, it does not power down like one. It stays remarkably active, just in a different way. Here is a comparison that puts this in perspective. Your brain uses about 20% of your body's total energy, even though it is only about 2% of your body weight. That is like one room in a 10-room house using up a fifth of the entire electricity bill every single hour, day and night, asleep or awake. Everything in this video is for educational purposes only. Always talk to your doctor before making any changes to your health or lifestyle. BodyVault AI uses AI-powered 3D visualization to explain what science already knows about the human body. We are here to educate, not prescribe. For most of human history, people assumed sleep was simply the brain switching off for the night, a kind of standby mode like a screen going dark. But when researchers started recording electrical activity from the brain during sleep, what they found did not look like standby at all. It looked like a completely different operating system had taken over. The waves get slower, but slower does not mean quieter. In some ways, what happens next is some of the busiest work your brain does all day. So if your brain is not shutting down, what is it actually doing in there? The moment you fall asleep, your brain does not ease in gradually, it flips. Within the first 90 seconds, the fast, irregular electrical chatter that defines your waking mind, the kind linked to thinking, planning, reacting to the world around you, gives way to slow, synchronized waves that roll through the brain in unison. Like a stadium crowd doing the wave, instead of everyone shouting individually. Did you know that within the first 90 seconds of sleep, your brain shifts from fast, chaotic waves to slow, synchronized waves? A switch so dramatic that on a brain scan, it looks like an entirely different organ took over. Think of it like this. Imagine a city at rush hour. Thousands of cars moving independently, horns, stop and go, total chaos. Then almost instantly, every car on every road starts moving in the exact same rhythm, in sync, like a single organism. That is roughly what your brain's electrical activity does the moment you drop into sleep. This shift is controlled by a small, deep structure called the thalamus, often described as the brain's relay station. While you are awake, the thalamus passes sensory information through to the cortex constantly. Sounds, light, touch, the feeling of your clothes against your skin. The moment sleep begins, the thalamus essentially closes that gate. The outside world does not disappear. Your brain just stops actively listening to most of it. Research links this thalamic gating process to the loss of conscious awareness that marks the true start of sleep. It is one of the clearest markers scientists use to determine the exact moment someone has fallen asleep, often more precise than the person's own sense of when they drifted off. Here is where it gets interesting. This is not a single switch that flips once and stays flipped. Over the course of a night, your brain cycles through this pattern. Synchronized slow waves, then faster activity, then slow again. Roughly every 90-minute cycle, 4 to 6 times before morning. Each cycle is not identical. Early cycles are dominated by the deep, slow wave activity. Later cycles shift toward a very different state, one where your brain's electrical activity looks almost like it is awake. Even though your body is the most still it will be all night. But here is where it gets really interesting. Because what scientists discovered next changed everything about how we understand this slow wave state. Here is the scale reveal. The gaps between your brain cells, called the interstitial space, are normally about as wide as 0.0005 millimeters. That is roughly 1/100th the width of a human hair. During deep sleep, something remarkable happens to that tiny space. Brain cells physically shrink, not dramatically, but enough that the gaps between them widen by as much as 60%. Did you know that during deep sleep, the spaces between your brain cells physically widen by up to 60%, creating room for cerebrospinal fluid to wash through and flush out waste products that build up while you're awake? Think of it like this. Imagine your brain cells are furniture in a room, and during the day they are packed in tight, barely any walking space. At night, the furniture shifts slightly. This opens up aisles. Down those aisles flows a cleaning crew, moving through and clearing out debris that has been accumulating all day. That debris includes metabolic byproducts your brain cells produce simply by doing their job while you are awake, thinking, processing, reacting. One of these byproducts has drawn significant scientific attention because some studies have found associations between its buildup and long-term brain health markers. Research suggests the cerebrospinal fluid flow during deep sleep plays a role in clearing this material out, though scientists are still working out exactly how significant this clearance process is for long-term outcomes. This entire system has a name, the Glymphatic system, discovered and named only in 2012. For most of the history of neuroscience, nobody knew the brain had its own internal plumbing system that activates specifically during sleep. It was hiding in plain sight the entire time, in a process happening inside your skull right now, every single night. Here is something else most people do not know. This clearance process is dramatically less active while you are awake. The aisles are mostly closed. That is part of why this nightly opening and flushing cycle is so distinct. It is largely a sleep-exclusive event, and scientists only discovered this part in the last decade. And it changes how we understand everything about why sleep feels so different from simply resting while awake. Lying in bed with your eyes closed, completely relaxed, is not the same as being asleep, because this flushing process does not switch on the same way. While the cleanup is happening, your brain is also doing something else, something that feels almost impossible when you think about it. It is replaying your day. During certain sleep stages, neurons that fired in specific patterns while you were learning something new, a route you walked, a conversation you had, a skill you practiced, fire again in those same patterns while you sleep. But here's the part that sounds almost unbelievable. Did you know your brain replays the day's events during sleep at speeds up to 20 times faster than they happened, compressing hours of experience into seconds, again and again, all night long? Some research suggests this replay process is linked to memory consolidation, the process by which short-term experiences appear to get strengthened and integrated into longer-term storage. Some studies have found associations between this replay activity and improved performance on memory tasks the following day. Although researchers note that sleep's role in memory is complex and still an active area of study. This is why some people find that a difficult problem feels clearer after a night's sleep, even though they did not consciously work on it. Your brain may have spent part of the night running through related information at high speed in the background without you knowing. Every single night, your brain runs its own cleaning cycle. It physically shrinks its cells to make room for fluid to flush through and clear out the waste that built up while you were awake. You have been getting a deep clean every night your entire life and never once felt it happen. Think about that for a moment. Right now, tonight, while you are completely unconscious, completely unaware, your brain will synchronize its electrical activity, open up microscopic channels between its own cells, flush fluid through those channels to clear out the day's buildup, and then replay your entire day at 20 times speed on repeat for hours. And tomorrow you will wake up and just call it a good night's sleep. Which brings us to the one thing about sleep that changes how you will think about every night for the rest of your life. Every night of your life, your brain has been running a process more sophisticated than almost anything else your body does. And you have never been awake to witness a second of it. It synchronizes, it cleans, it replays, and then it hands you back a slightly different brain than the one you fell asleep with. One that is cleared out, reorganized, and a little more ready for tomorrow. You have experienced this thousands of times. Tonight will be no different. The only thing that has changed is that now you know what is actually happening in there. Next week, we are going inside your gut. And what we found about the connection between your gut and your brain is even more surprising than this.